There's a certain idealised notion of pioneer colonial Australia that made these comic Australian films popular with audiences for decades, but I'm all for having them wiped from Australia's collective memory. Steel Rudd is the pen name of Arthur Hoey Davis, who grew up in the countryside near Brisbane in the century before last and started contributing short stories to the Bulletin from 1895, and for decades romanticising life on a selection, that's a farm in Australia, with his family. Big city types loved the stories and adapted them for long-running radio serials, a series of films, beginning with Raymond Longford's 1920 silent feature, and a half dozen sequels with its characters Dave, Dad, Mother Rudd and other quirky country folk, like an early Australian version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In 1940, Kenji Hall made Dad Rudd MP. Steel Rudd had a caustic mistrust for politicians, which probably helped his popularity with Aussie audiences, but he hated what others did to his characters. Particularly, the radio serial made them all look like idiots, country hicks, which entirely missed the point. Look, I'm not a fan of the Dad and Dave films at all. There are so many other interesting milestones in our film history, and I guess I feel about them the same way plenty of people feel about Marvel films today, asking why they keep getting made and why people keep going to them. Director George Whaley tried to reboot the material in 1995, with a huge cast: Geoffrey Rush as Dave, Leo McKern as Dad, and even Dame Joan Sutherland in her first and only feature film role as Mother Rudd. And even though it was more representational of Rudd's stories, audiences did not care at all. Probably a very unpopular opinion to express in the Australian film world, but I hope the miserable box office from that 1995 film drives a stake through any ambitions anyone has to revive it in the future. Steel Rudd is an interesting figure, though. Like the Dave Eggers of his day, he used his popularity to start a literary journal and he championed Australian writing.